I'm here with Neil Chivers, the Chief Executive Officer of Chorus Intel. We've been talking on a previous video about Neil's background, and we're now going to move on to the present day, or largely the present day, because Neil, you joined Chorus not, I think, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but not, I think, as the Chief Executive, and I think prior to Chorus expanding beyond its UK origin. So tell us something about that.
Yeah, so I joined Chorus in August 2020. So if anyone can remember 3 years ago, it was
was that pre-pandemic? Was it pre-pandemic, or was it?
It was really in the epicenter of the pandemic. So yeah, but specifically, I was brought into Chorus to look at their international strategy, and then in a previous role. Between Northgate and Chorus, I worked for Capita Secure Solutions. So I'd exported a product to the US that was pretty successful. And then I met the founder, the then Chief Executive Boyd Mulvey, and we hatched a plan to basically take Chorus internationally. And obviously, when you look back at it now, that seemed a bit crazy when you couldn't travel anywhere and whatnot. But we did as much as we could behind a screen, like we're doing today. And it took a few months, but we really honed in on the strategy about what we were going to do to expand Chorus's boundaries in terms of the geographies that it serves.
It's quite a story, the Chorus Intel story, pretty much. Maybe not quite literally, but starting on Boyd's kitchen table. Yep. I think he left the city, or he had been previously working in the city of London. Had to plot in Woodbridge, I think, in Suffolk. The office that you certainly used to have. I don't know whether you still have that fantastic office with a overlooking. Anyway, I won't go into the sort of the poetry of that. But quite a story, going from almost rural Suffolk through to UK and then into US. So you joined in 2020, in the teeth of the pandemic, to come up with a plan with Boyd to head out to the US. Tell us how that's gone.
Yeah, it's gone knock wood, using an American expression, pretty well since then. It's culminated in a few things really. So obviously Chorus is very successful in UK policing, mainly in the analytical space. So we've got a really strong foothold in the UK. But there was two things that were driving us. One is how can we democratize the technology to many more users? And we'll talk a little bit later on, I guess, about the Chorus Intelligence Suite, which is our sort of next gen software. And then also, how do we build a platform that can fit both markets, right? So whilst we're doing the same job in the UK and the US predominantly, obviously there's a much more fragmented market in the US. And some of the tooling that we've been famous for over the last 12 years in the UK is simply not exportable to another territory. So one, it was around how do we set up a business in the US and staff that up. The other thing was how do we actually develop our software to make sure that end users can benefit from it, no matter where they sat in the world, really. So they were the two challenges.
Remiss of me not to ask you before to set out what it is, what service, what software Chorus Intel provides in the UK, and now what you are successfully introducing and developing in the US. So fill in the blanks there for us.
Okay, yeah. So historically, and still to this day, that product is in operation mainly in the UK. But we had a product called Chorus Analyze, and that product really brought the post-conspiracy data analysis world to life. So, you know, something bad has happened, whether it's a murder, whether it's a counter-terrorism event, whether it's a human trafficking type conspiracy. But typically, the analysts in the police agencies would get hold of that job and have to start to piece together the who, the what, the where, and the when that pertains to a digital investigation. So they might have some records from an ANPR system. They might have got an extract from a handset extraction. They may have applied for some requisitioned data from the telcos. Historically, analysts would have had to eyeball this manually using literally rulers and highlighters. And Chorus Analyze basically automated that process and then allowed analysts to spot the connections to open up key lines of inquiry. And really, Boyd and the team did a fantastic job of getting that into the hands of the analysts in around about 80% of the market in the UK, and brought forward tremendous efficiency savings. So the analysts could actually do more quality work, but also much more efficient and quicker in terms of getting to an outcome. So I think, there's certain stats out there, but we sped up that process by 97%. So if a job was going to take 9 months doing it manually, we could probably do it in a week or two, being facilitated by the software. And that product, and a sort of baby product called Chorus Investigate, which was a cut down version for digital investigators, were sort of ferried around on laptops across UK police departments. We evolved to put that into a private cloud, but it was still, reasonably old form factor in terms of a Windows type application. And then we've basically got to a point now where, given where we are with our organization and the intellectual capacity that we've got and the developers that we've got and the expertise that we've brought into the organization over the last few years to bring some additional intellectual firepower, we've now got something called the Chorus Intelligence Suite, which is being rolled out across the UK and the US as we speak.
And so, before we move on to the future, let's just look a little at having got that route, having got that base in the UK. Yep. What was the secret, do you think? I'm in danger here of straying into commercial intellectual property, but insofar as you're able, what do you think was the secret? What made it successful for you in taking the core product from the UK and then looking to provide that not quite same product, you developed it, but that core product out to the United States?
Yeah, I think there's a few things, but mainly market dynamics, right? There's 40, as you alluded to earlier in the session, there's only a limited number of police agencies in the UK. So you're either going to create, talking from a sort of a business perspective, you're either going to be a lifestyle business that basically keeps going and delivering great customer service and have a very small set of clients, and we continue to delight those clients, and you run a lifestyle business, or you go for exponential growth, which is really what Chorus is all about. We're a young, hungry, we're at the startup phase now, but we're all in the scale-up phase. And what is your ambition, really? And predominantly our ambition is to provide the best digital intelligence investigation software in the world. So we have to match that ambition. That is our mission as an organization. So really the drivers for that were continue to delight our clients, show them the path to greater capability, put that greater capability in the hands of more users within those 45 police departments, go to slightly different verticals. So we're just about kicking off 2 projects in UK banks currently. So that's an exciting advent for us. We're in, obviously, a number of the national agencies in the UK, but then where do you pivot to? Well, really, you pivot to the Five Eyes community, right? That's the easiest and the path of police resistance, but it just so happens that the US is by far the biggest market in the world for public safety, so it was common sense.
By far the biggest, but also some 20 to 30,000 different police forces, ranging in size from NYPD and similar, all the way through to 3 or 4 police officer forces. So how much penetration then have you managed to achieve in the States so far?
Yeah, so we've got around about 40 clients live on the software, pretty much, well, absolutely from a standing start. So really, if you can go back to 2020 where you couldn't travel and all of that sort of stuff, we landed in a place called Virginia Beach, which is about 3.5 hours southeast of Washington, DC. And we did a lot of work with that police department and also their city government to not only get the software deployed and get a reference client, but also set up shop in that city. So, we've got an office in the heart of downtown Virginia Beach. Then we hired into that office, and then we've also got dispersed employees across the United States. There's a heavy predication on the East Coast, just because it made sense. It's
a huge country. It's a huge country. So
yeah, so there's 40 clients, some large, some smaller, but we're adding clients each month because word of mouth is now starting to persist. So I sort of call it a bit of a COVID effect, right? So you land the CIS, the Course Intelligence Suite, in an agency, they start to talk about it and the outcomes that it's delivering, and then it sort of spreads out virally. And Florida's a great example of that. So we pitched up in Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, which is just outside Tampa, and now there's like 7-8 clients in the Tampa Bay region that have all spawned out of that landing point. So we
word of mouth. Word of mouth if you're doing things right.
Word of mouth matters, yeah. And our brand is becoming much more known for that, to such an extent now that we're getting inbound inquiries, which is no mean feat, even in a couple of years, really. So we're delighted. We're delighted.